Hello again. In the summer of last year, the Republican Party candidate in the US presidential election could be heard publicly announcing during a visit to the Middle East that should an Israeli terrorist launch a military attack against Iran's nuclear facilities, then that Israeli terrorist would receive full American support. This lunatic did not, of course, win the election, although a significant number of Americans actually voted for him. Members of his party, currently serving in both Congress and the Senate, are continually calling on the American administration to launch military attacks on both Syria and Iran. They are being supported in this by people like Mrs. Haig's little boy William, our current Foreign Secretary, and his French counterpart. The thing that all these Western politicians have in common appears to be the belief that you can best put out a fire by throwing more petrol on it. They should, of course, be supporting the claims made by the Russian and Chinese governments when the subject of Syria first came up for discussion at the United Nations, that all the parties involved in Syria should be made to sit round the table and talk out their problems. The Americans are making similar mistakes in Afghanistan. There is never likely to be any peace there. The Afghanistani Taliban do not and never have posed a threat to the United Kingdom. Their politics are awful. That is because they were recruited by bin Laden, who was funded in that process jointly with Saudi and American money. However, for the most part, the Afghanistani Taliban are staunch Afghanistani patriots. They are doing in Afghanistan what Winston Churchill urged us Brits to do here in the United Kingdom back in 1940, should Adolf Hitler have made a successful military invasion of the United Kingdom. Over the past nearly 70 years now, successive US administrations have funded the Israeli terrorists running the government in Tel Aviv to build their own stockpile of nuclear weapons, to steal land from Palestinians and build illegal settlements on it, to create the world's biggest concentration camp out of the Gaza Strip, and to scatter white phosphorus on UN buildings, including schools and school children sheltering therein in the Gaza Strip. It is perhaps time we Europeans gave serious thought to closing down all US military bases across the whole of Europe, deporting all known and suspect members of the American security services, and disbanding NATO, which for too long has been used as a cloak to cover American acts of international terrorism in the furtherance of their foreign policy.